Welcome back to another week of the TSV Sports Show. I'm your host, Jasper Lindsay. Joined with me, as always, is Steven Risotto, Marco Milani, and Armand Archignani. Got a packed show for you today, so let's get right into it with Skating on Thin Ice with Marco Milani.
Thanks, Jasper. I am happy to say that the Sharks ended their homestand last night with a win. Yay, they finally won one. It was the last game of the homestand against the St. Louis Blues. Your goals for the Sharks was Mark-Edouard Vlasic, Logan Couture to tie it, and then it was an EK to EK for the OTW. Evander Kane, excuse me, Eric Carlson to Evander Kane for the overtime winner in 41 seconds into the overtime period. They have a 3-day break, and then they will be playing once again on Thursday for a road trip. And now we go from the actual ice to the sheets of ice. I was talking actually a couple weeks ago about the women's side, the 2021 Scotties Tournament of Hearts. This time it's in the same Calgary bubble, but it's the men's side. Today we had a few games being played today. There are a few games scheduled. We have a set of games. Team Canada will be playing at 3:30 Eastern, which is 12:30 Pacific, and since this is recorded at about noon, it will be starting in a few minutes. And this has been some good curling so far. A lot of close matches, a lot of highlight reel shots. If you follow TSN on Instagram or Twitter, you will see a lot of those shots. So I will definitely be watching some Briar. And that, Jasper, is Skating on Thin Ice and the Sheets of Ice.
Always a pleasure to have that segment on this show. All right, moving on to the NBA, post All-Star break. Opening up with huge news, Blake Griffin is a net. Armand, how has this changed the playoff run in the East?
I don't think this changes much. I think ever since Harden went to the Nets and not having to give up a lot of assets is big for the Nets to win this championship. And I think they're still the team to beat. Blake Griffin, obviously, we know what he's capable of doing when he's healthy. And if he really can be athletic as he is and know the game with his IQ, they'll still be the team to beat. And I think they're the NBA champs this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all Warriors fans here. I think we're finally getting a taste of our own medicine. Is how it feels to see just a team so unbelievably stacked, just wreaking havoc on the NBA. And especially coming into the All-Star break, the Nets were hot. They were getting it going. I would love to see how Milwaukee responds if they make a move at the deadline. And if so, who do you think would be a good fit for them, Armand?
I think getting someone maybe is out of their reach right now, but I think if Drew Holiday steps it up, because coming into
Oh, no.
restrictions, I think he'll be the one
Armand, you cut off there,
that
buddy. Can you repeat that?
I think if Milwaukee doesn't make any moves, I think that'll be the better suit for them. I think Drew Holiday needs to step it up after his COVID protocols were cleared. He had a little bit of a slump going into the All-Star break, but I think if he steps up, then they'll be good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you looking for the Warriors to do in the second half? Do you think they can maybe make a little push for that last seed?
Yeah, I think the Warriors should be able to get at least a 7 seed. I think all those close games that they've lost, all the stupid turnovers at end of games, the last 2 minutes have been dreadful for the Warriors in the first half of the season. But if they start to clean it up and Curry plays the same way he's been playing, I think they can definitely get at least a 7 seed in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Moving on, we have reached the month of March, fellas. March Madness is right around the corner. Selection Sunday is this weekend. Marco, I know you have some bracketology for us. Break it down.
I do. I do indeed. So I am getting this bracketology from the expert on ESPN. I believe his name is Joe Lenardi. Yes, it is. Joe Lenardi.
Joe Lenardi, sorry, just to interrupt you real quick. Joe Lenardi basically lives in a bunker, and all he does is watch college basketball year round.
Anyway, so your number one seeds in all of your regions. Gonzaga in Region 1, Baylor in Region 2, Illinois in Region 4, and Michigan in Region 3. No surprise about Gonzaga. They have always been the ones to watch on the West Coast. I am a St. Mary's fan myself. In the WCC, considering that it's the closer one. Gonzaga is in Washington. Michigan, I have always known them as more of a football school. I did not see this coming. I honestly did not see Michigan being the number one seed. And then Illinois in Region 4, another good school. Baylor, somebody who's actually been known for their women's side of basketball, is number one. So that's a big shock. Some small schools that I'm seeing here is App State or North Carolina A&T. I think that's going to be a wild card. Nichols State, UCSB, Hartford or Prairie View, North Dakota State. Little Chicago is back, so we could see an upset with them. Southern Utah, VCU, Western Kentucky, Toledo, Winthrop, Liberty, UNCG, Drake, who we haven't seen for a little while, Siena, Bryant, and the University of Houston. So this is going to be a year with a ton of potential upsets. And I think this is honestly, for you guys who play brackets or who bet on the brackets, it's going to be tough. And I'll be ending my 60-second rant. I'm going to tell you about a team that you might not notice that is not there this year. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. And Armand, who's your sleeper pick and team to watch this tournament?
I think a sleeper team for me is coming out of the Big 12. It's either going to be Texas Tech. I know Oklahoma State is up there, but I think they're still, with all the hype around Cade Cunningham, I think they're still an underdog with all the good teams in the Big 12. So I think definitely Oklahoma State and Texas Tech are my two sleepers.
Absolutely. I mean, Illinois has looked electric. They knocked off Michigan this week. How far do you think they can go in the tournament?
I think they'll definitely make the Elite Eight at least. I'm high on Illinois this year. Michigan had a little bit of a slump going into the weekend. They did beat Michigan State. Then they lost on Sunday. But I think Illinois has a lot to look forward to going into March.
Yeah, and I think with Michigan especially, like, this is just a team that has purpose. They're playing for their coach. Juwan Howard has these guys wanting to run through a brick wall. He loves the school of Michigan. He loves basketball, and I just think the sky's the limit for that team. I mean, obviously, the losses to Illinois and Michigan State are tough, but Illinois beat a very impressive Ohio State team this weekend. Illinois is legit. Michigan State, they always say it goes January, Izzo, March, and it's just Tom Izzo's month, and he runs it. There's not much you can do when you get to February and Tom Izzo is doing his thing. All right, moving on to the Diamond. Steven Risotto, our local baseball analyst, has a top 10 power ranking of the MLB teams. First of the year in spring training. Steve, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I did come up with a list here. I already knew some of the teams that were going to be at the top. I think filling in the middle was the hardest thing. So we're going to start from honorable mentions here. Reds, Red Sox, Phillies, Angels, Cubs, Indians, Nationals, Brewers. You guys are probably not good enough. Also, Oakland A's and Giants, the two Bay Area teams that we've been so focused on covering. They are not on my top 10. I see a head shake already, so we'll get to that in a sec. Also, the Tampa Bay Rays, who were in the World Series, the American League champs, they are not in the top 10. All right, so yes, I'm coming in firing on all cylinders here. Number 10 is the team that has never had a losing season in like 15 years, I think. The St. Louis Cardinals, bringing back some of their guys, Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina, bringing in a guy who's a star, Nolan Arenado. Now you got the best corner infielders in the game, some of them. Jack Flaherty on the mound. This is going to be a good team, I think, in a very unimpressive National League Central. So I think they're going to walk away with it. St. Louis is my number 10 team. Number 9, we're going to go with the Houston Astros. They had a bit of an underwhelming year last year, but they played well in postseason. They added a few pieces, Michael Brantley being one of them. They just signed Jake Odorizzi to a deal. They have a few good starters, young pitching staff, but they're my number 9 team. My number 8 team is the Minnesota Twins. This team is going to hit, and then more hit. My concern with the Twins is that they lost a ton in the bullpen this year. Sergio Romo's gone. Matt Whistler's gone. They lost a few other people. So it's basically Tyler Rogers or his brother. There's another Rogers, his brother. I'm forgetting his first name, but the left-hander Rogers, he's like the only guy now in their bullpen. I think they have Tyler Clippard, but non-factor, of course. But this team's going to hit. They have a lot of offense on that team. Number 7, another team that's going to hit, Toronto Blue Jays. This is my sleeper team in the American League this year. They're going to need to pitch, though. The questions with their rotation are legitimate. Hyun-Jin Ryu is great when he's on the field, but he's got a track record of not being on the field. Same thing with Steven Matz. This is a team. James Paxton went back to the Mariners. He was just such a good fit in Toronto that I thought he went there. No, so they're not my number 17. Number 6 is the Mets. They're very good. I think their pitching staff has always been a staple of how they build their teams. Hopefully, with the loss of Bauer, they're able to use that money elsewhere. I think they brought in Francisco Lindor. Their offense is good. So I really do like the Mets this year. Number 5 is the White Sox. Tony La Russa going to come in and take over a young team that arguably has the most talent in the American League in terms of young, raw. I mean, a lot of good arms there, led by Lucas Giolito. A lot of good young position players too. I expect the White Sox to be pretty deep contenders in the postseason, go deep. Number 4, I have the New York Yankees. And the reason I'm not putting them any higher than 4 is because of their rotation question marks. I mean, who are you going to rely on in that rotation? Corey Kluber, who pitched 1 game last year, like 1 inning. He's not going to be the guy that I depend on. I think there's health issues with Severino. Garrett Cole's really the only guy that, you can rely on. There's nobody else. Tanaka went back to Japan. So, and also health with the position players. They're always hurt. Judge, always hurt. So they always have problems staying on the field. But still, great offense for sure. Number 3 is the Braves. Braves, took a Dodgers, were very competitive with the Dodgers last year in the championship series. I expect them to continue. They added 2 horses in the rotation this year. Actually, a few. Drew Smiley, Charlie Morton was added. Mike Soroka is coming back. Max Fried is good. This is going to be a very, very good rotation, I think, for sure. And Marcelo Ozuna is back in left field. A good offense, young core. Nothing not to like about the Braves. Number 2 is the San Diego Padres, of course. National League West is going to be tough to get through these 2 teams here, my top 2 for power rankings. Padres just have great pitching. Their offense is great. They have a guy at shortstop who's going to be there for the next 14 years. So, they're all set. They're going all for it, but it's going to be hard for them to take. Drum roll, the Dodgers. Yes, they're number 1. They are set. And honestly, I don't think they're content with what they did last year. I think they view the championship as, kind of the rest of us view it, abbreviated, but they have a roster set, where they're trying to go on a dynasty run. That's really what they're set. The next 3-4 years, Dodgers are going to be World Series favorites, and they're World Series favorites heading into spring training. Can't wait to watch this team. Pitching staff, when Clayton Kershaw's your 3, that's a problem. David Price, Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, Dustin May doesn't even have a rotation spot. That's in Tony Gonsolin, who's pitching in big games in the postseason, doesn't even have a rotation spot. That's absurd. Julio Urias is your 5. 5. That's insane. And their offense, everybody could play multiple positions well. It's insane what they're doing over there in LA. So that's my power rankings.
Steve, I need you to look me dead in the eye right now and tell me a team that snuck into the playoffs with a losing record last year and lost arguably one of their best hitters is better than the Oakland Athletics. You need to
Yes.
explain this to me.
Yes, they are. Because Oakland needs to book on Jesus Luzardo because Frankie Montas, as good as he is, he's not your prototypical ace. Okay, they need Luzardo to break out. This is the year for it. They lost Liam Hendricks. They lost Marcus Simeon. Matt Chapman's coming off hip surgery. This is a team that's going to need to step it up, I think. Oakland's got to, they lost pieces. That's all there is to it. Houston added pieces, who did Oakland add? Sergio Romo, so it's a bit of Elvis Andrews. It's a bit of a different feel over there, but Houston, I think, got a lot better. And again, they're also betting on bounce backs from Altuve and Gurriel, and they're not out of the woods, but I still think that they're a top team due to their young pitching staff. And honestly, if Altuve gets a bounce back year, he was one of the worst second basemen, I think, in baseball last year, which is like the opposite of what he's been for the last 5-7 years. So I'm betting on a bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny how it gets harder to hit a baseball when you don't know what pitch is coming. And also now that iPads are allowed back in the dugout, we may see a little bump in the Astros performance on the field. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. I think you have a lot of surprise teams, but at the end of the day, the World Series runs through the West. The Dodgers and Padres are going to be battling till the end.
And there's too much trendy teams, to be honest with you. Yeah. There's too much teams that are just trendy, not established, like Chicago. And it's easy to go and say the White Sox and the Padres are going to be two of the best teams in baseball. It's easy to say that, but they're also trendy picks that have not been established, right? I know Padres have not been in a big game, in a legitimate big game since the last time they were in the World Series, like 20 years ago. So, and the White Sox have not been in a big game since 2005. So these are trendy picks, but I feel safe with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting if Tony La Russa can stay on the right side of the road this season, but we'll see how it goes.
Take the pedal off the metal.
All right, moving on. Marco's Mock of the Week, one of our favorite segments on the show, followed by a little NFL rumor talk. Marco, give us your mock.
All right, so if you guys had either Bleacher Report or some sense of internet, you will know that Boston sports media has the hots for Jimmy Garoppolo right now. They want him back. They want him back bad. No. And this is going to make it happen, but I've gone the extra mile. With the pick that they get back, I actually mocked their pick. And this is my mock of the week, plus a little scouting report on the pick that they would use, or what they would use. Sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? What they would do with that pick. So, with that said, the Patriots get Jimmy G. He goes back home, and he hopefully leads them to a playoff spot like Bill Belichick wants him to. But the 49ers get the 2021 second, which right now is projected at pick 46. And who do they select? Who do they select in round 2? A quarterback? Maybe. My thing, though, is tackle Walker Little out of Stanford. And I did a little scouting report on this guy. I watched his sophomore year game against Notre Dame and then a 2019 game versus Northwestern. First of all, I think you would draft him for his size. Dude is 6'7" and $3 and change. Come on. Why? How couldn't you want a tackle that's 6'7"? Especially in an NFC West filled with guys like Aaron Donald, now JJ Watt. You have to have somebody who's tall and rough, who can protect your quarterback. Now, what I did see, there was a couple missed blocks, but he was able to recover. He wasn't throwing people around, which you really don't need because you can probably get a Mahler lineman in free agency. But another question that I have is that he played left tackle when he was at Stanford. And with the rumors that the Niners want to bring back Trent Williams, would he be willing to shift over to the right to fill in that right tackle role? Because then you're just going to have a loaded left side. And then those 2 games that I saw, it was actually night and day. He only allowed a couple sacks. So, like I said, you'd be drafting for the size. And the Niners are definitely known for developing their O-linemen. I do rack a lot about Mike McGlinchey, but he probably did have a bad year. So, with that said, to sum up, Patriots get Jimmy G, 49ers get a 2021 second, which they used to select 6'7" tackle Walker Little out of Stanford.
Armand, I'm going to kick this one out to you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Marco makes a good point. If New England really wants to get Jimmy G, but I think in the past couple of weeks, all the rumors have been canceled out that Jimmy G is going to get traded. I think John Lynch is still going to ride him with his last year on his contract. I think if Jimmy G has a good prove it year, then we'll see what happens in the offseason. But I think as of right now, with the reports that's coming out, John Lynch is going to be with Jimmy G. Kyle Shanahan wants him, and I think that's the best bet for the Niners this season.
Yeah, and the move itself was described by Bleacher Report as a plan B type decision for the Patriots. So I don't think Jimmy G is going anywhere. But let me put this scenario out there because I think this is fascinating. Should you trade Jimmy G and you get the right draft pick compensation, do you trust a rookie Justin Fields to take you on a deep playoff run?
Well, all right. I don't think Justin Fields is going to be the pick. I honestly think he's going to get swooped up by the Falcons if they don't get Kyle Pitts. And with pick 12, they may not even go cornerback. Quarterback. They might go corner. They might go J.C. Horner, Patrick Surtain, because they need more help on the defensive backs than anything. So something I forgot to add in there is they would actually put a clause in there that says, hey, Patriots, we'll give you Jimmy G, but you got to help us get Deshaun Watson. Other than that, if they do go quarterback, they could use pick 47 on Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, somebody who's projected in that high second round range, or they can use pick 12 on Trey Lance, or they can trade for the 15th pick, use that leverage to trade up and get Trey Lance, or Penei Sewell out of Oregon, big O lineman. So I don't think you get Fields.
What about you, Armand?
I agree with Marco. I don't think there's enough to see from Justin Fields, especially after the playoffs. I think the Niners shouldn't get Justin Fields. I think I've seen a lot of mock drafts going. Justin Fields goes number 2. I think the best bet is to get a cornerback, especially if Jason Verrett actually tries to test free agency with the news coming out. I think you get Caleb Fairley, Patrick Surtain, or Horn. I think those are all pretty good picks for the future.
Absolutely. All right.
Also, if I can add.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I can add, Justin Fields has some issues that may not be able to solve with coaching. There were some concerns early after the season that his mistakes would reflect really horribly in the NFL because, yeah.
Yeah, I think with Justin Fields, though, it's more so his reliance to create. And I think he can still create in the NFL just because he has that much athleticism. Honestly, I'd trust Justin Fields more than I would Trey Lance. All right, moving on. 60-second rants. Steve, you're up first, buddy. Let's hear what you got.
All right, I want to shout out here CSM alumni and current minor league player with the Rays who's in big league camp that I just wrote a feature about that should be coming out very soon. Miles Masterboni, he's tearing it up right now, or he's torn it up in his career in the minor leagues. Hopefully we get a chance to see him in the big leagues very soon. Great story from Livermore, California, and ended up going to, of course, CSM. Played 2 years at CSM, went to University of Nevada, and then was drafted in the 14th round by the Tampa Bay Rays. And he was a shortstop at CSM, and now he's playing all over the place. Kind of got caught up in the new trend in baseball where, guys are playing all over the place. So shout out to Miles. Talked to a few of his friends for the story, and they could not have said anything more about him. He was great. And I heard that he's not a good golfer, but he says he is. So we'll have to hear the truth about that. Good luck, Miles.
Great stuff, Steve. Can't wait to publish that article. All right, Marco, let's hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this could be a year we may not see Duke in the dance this year. They have had a less than ideal season, and this is might be the first time we may not see Coach K. Joe Lunardi has projected that they'll have to win the ACC tournament in order to make the dance. And with their current season so far, it might not happen. So to all you Blue Devil fans, or also known as me, who pick them every year to win the championship and then have their brackets busted because they get eliminated early in the tournament, you may not have to rely on that. Like I said, this could be a year of upsets. This could be a year where small schools rise. We might have a UNLV season again.
Yeah, I think we're all excited for a Dukeless March, to put it in blatant terms. It's always fun to see Coach K fail. And I look forward to him being on the hot seat.
Fun to see Coach K fail?
Yeah, what? Duke is the evil empire of college basketball. Who doesn't want to see them?
Wow. Okay.
Today, I'm going to be talking about the Boston Celtics. In the past couple of years, the Boston Celtics have been known as one of the best teams in the East and failing to get to the finals in the last couple of years after having an amazing, talented team. When they went to get out Kemba Walker as their starting point guard, that was supposed to be their savior, help Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They haven't had the best front court in the Eastern Conference, but in the Eastern Conference, there's guys like Joel Embiid that have to be guarded. As we see, they're the 4th seed in that Eastern Conference right now. 19 and 17 is just not acceptable for the Boston Celtics. You're a half game above the Knicks. That's unacceptable. I think the Boston Celtics need to step it up. Brad Stevens needs to get on Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker's feet and start getting them in the right direction. They're on a 4-game winning streak, but I think you have to be better as a Boston Celtic to win.
Absolutely. The Celtics need to get it together. Brad Stevens, everyone loved him a couple of years ago. Now they're calling for his head. All right. Today, I'm talking about March. March is the best month in sports. Debatable, yes, but think about it. We have the tournament. We have the return of baseball. And then in April, we have Jim Nantz welcoming us to the Masters. It's going to be a great month of sports. I look forward to it. A lot of storylines. Ricky Fowler might not even make the Masters. The March tournament is going to be insane, as Marco's previewed for us. Baseball is going to be – I don't even know what baseball is going to be this year. It's going to be fun just to see what a mess Rob Manfred has created for himself and if he can save it. Just a lot of fun sports coming up. And, yeah, I mean – I'm not going to lie to you guys. I wasn't entirely prepared for my 60-second rant today, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to a great month and a half of sports.
We do a really good job of ending right at 1 minute. Like, has anybody ever in the history of 60-second rants gone over?
Absolutely. It happens at least once a week.
Maybe I'm just not paying attention.
And that's completely fine, Steve. All right.
Well, it's on character for me, so carry on.
Well, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in as always, and we will see you next week on the TSV Sports Show.